It's one of the greatest dramas in Earth's history. How the Indian subcontinent crashes north into Eurasia. The story began 35 million years ago, and it's still going on today. This vast collision makes the Himalayas our highest mountain range, and the Qinghai Tibetan Plateau the roof of the world. China's three mightiest rivers flow down off the plateau. This geological mega-collision created China's climate, with huge sandy deserts, temperate forests, and monsoon rains, and still helps shape people's lives today. In this series, we follow the people of China through 1 year, revealing, spectacular, dramatic, all revealed from the air. A year of surprises, as a nation of 1.4 billion faces incredible opportunities and challenges. In the far north, on the prairie lands of the steppe, it's January and winter is still in command. The perfect time to come together for a party. A race. A battle between people who share a passion for horses. The ice and snow Naadam. Hulunbuir, Inner Mongolia, in China's northeastern corner. A high plateau at around 3,000 meters, where the rolling prairie pastures stay below freezing from October to March. Shijirer is a herdsman, a Dor, one of China's 55 minority nationalities. For him, it's all about the horses. They're the love of his life.
就喜欢马，从小就喜欢马，就想，天天脑子里边都是马。
For weeks now, he's been getting ready for the ice and snow Naadam. This time, he's focused on one event, an endurance horse race. Sturdy Mongolian horses are believed to be unchanged since they carried the mounted warriors of Genghis Khan when they were valued for their stamina and hardiness. As is the custom here, Shijirer has picked a light teenager to be his jockey.
养快马的，就喜欢把自己的马上来看看，跟人家的马赛一赛，就有那感觉。那边就喜欢马赛马。
Legend has it, Genghis Khan invented the Naadam to keep his warriors fit between military campaigns. Shijirer is a champion horse breeder, and the Naadam is his place to shine. The horses may not have changed, but the spectacle of a Naadam race is very different from a generation ago. But despite his trackside coaching, Shijirer's horse comes in ninth.
拿不了冠军，肯定是心里不得劲儿。赛马嘛，谁都喜欢拿冠军，得着名次。
But he's philosophical. There will be 19 more Naadam festivals in the coming year. The dry, extremely cold weather here in January is controlled by a record-breaking area of high pressure called the Siberian High. It brings a magical, fleeting phenomenon. Rime ice. Water vapor rising from the river is supercooled. It's below freezing, but remains liquid in a way that still puzzles scientists. When it meets a twig or a blade of grass, it crystallizes into rime ice. Painter Li Guangbin has won an international reputation capturing the beauty of rime ice.
一小时候在这个里头，上下学在这个雾凇这个景观里头玩了，是吧？印象特别深。
He spent a lifetime trying to capture these magical winter scenes, and even devised his own method, painting on crumpled paper. Li follows in a Chinese tradition of landscape painting, stretching back more than 45 generations, which celebrates the beauty and variety of nature.
拿起笔来，感觉兴奋，心情高兴。 所以我感觉我的一生啊，选择这个职业比较幸运。
From the far northeast, traveling more than 4,000 kilometers across the western provinces of Gansu and Sichuan to the mountainous province of Yunnan that borders Myanmar, Laos, and Vietnam. For over 2,000 years, China has followed a unique calendar based on the angle of the sun. It divides the year into 24 segments, known as solar terms. Each one marks the shifting of the seasons and the milestones of the farmer's year. The first solar term falls on February 4th. Every February, in this corner of Yunnan, canola plants burst into brilliant yellow flower. At ground level, they stretch as far as the eye can see. But to fully appreciate their grandeur, you need to see them from the air. They stretch for 530 square kilometers. That's nearly 9 times the size of Manhattan Island. Beekeepers Yin Lianping and her husband Yi Pingwei don't live here all year round. They've come for the canola. Thanks to its special microclimate, the canola fields here are among the first to flower in all of China.
它养蜂人叫追花人，就是它主要就是追花赶蜜。
They've got 200 hives, with 30 to 40,000 bees in each hive, all loaded on a bespoke beehive truck. They need the canola to help them breed their next generation of bees. A beekeeper must be in the right place at the right time. Lianping and Pingwei timed their arrival here with the moment their large queen bees were ready to mate and lay their eggs in the hexagonal cells in the hive. As the eggs develop into greedy larvae, the canola is flowering and the worker bees have an abundance of rich nectar to feed the bee larvae their 1,300 meals a day. But chasing flowers means Lianping and Pingwei are always on the move. Every month, Lianping does her shopping in a different town.
我买点豆腐吧。你拿住吧，你拿住吧。
And she cooks under canvas. This week, across China, people are celebrating Chinese New Year. It's the biggest festival of the year, and every house is decorated in celebratory red, with symbols of good fortune for the coming year. It's the moment when everyone gets together with their families. But not beekeepers.
生日快乐，拜拜。
北方的养蜂人到南方来，一般就没回家过过年。我已经10来年没到家过过春节了。
新年快乐！
啊，知道了。
妈，新年快乐！妈，新年快乐！给我发红包。
啊，过一会儿给你发红包。
Their son and daughter stay home in Yunnan with Lian Ping's parents, where they can get a good education.
在家听你奶奶听爷爷话啊，干点家务活，别光知道耍，听到没有？
They believe education will give their children greater opportunities than they had.
也就是说，不希望孩子从事这个养蜂业，因为是太辛苦了。对孩子来说，还是走那个学习的路。 他最起码能从事自己喜欢的职业。
But though she wants a different future for her children, Lian Ping is happy with the life she leads.
养蜂业它有它的优点，我们去的地方都是有花、有水、有山的地方，空气还清新，他对这个身心健康都是非常好的。
In another month, canola will start to flower further north. Then Lian Ping and Ping Wei, the flower chasers, will pack up and move their bees again, ever onwards, following China's changing seasons.
对我来说，家就是帐篷吧，就是老公，他在的地方就是家了。
As the Chinese New Year holiday comes to an end, families across China prepare to mark one of the most colorful festivals of the year, the Lantern Festival, especially in the country's one-time capital, Nanjing. This is an aerial odyssey around the most populous nation on earth, China. Over 1 year, we follow the stories of people living diverse lives in contrasting landscapes. As months pass and seasons change and festivals brighten the calendar. Nanjing, many times capital of China in the past. Today they call it the City of Emperors, at the delta of the mighty Yangtze River. Every February, visitors flock here to celebrate the Lantern Festival. It marks the end of the Chinese New Year holiday. "70-year-old Yin Xiansheng has been making traditional lanterns since he was 8.
我父亲呢，临终前就嘱咐我们这些儿女，要把饮食花灯要扎下去、传下去，叫我们不要把它丢掉。
Yin's speciality is the traditional lotus-shaped lantern. Just as the beautiful lotus grows out of the mud and murky water, so in China, the lotus lantern symbolizes purity and brings good fortune. As he carefully makes the lanterns out of paper and bamboo, Yin recalls life in his neighborhood when he was a child.
说老实话，家家生活都比较艰苦，哎，那个什么油票的、猪肉票的、糖票都是家家都差不多的，你对不对？贵给那这儿像过年的贵，穿的鞋费贵个些，那了那个人没得，这过年穿点新衣裳。
Nanjing is a different place today. More than double the size it was when Yin was a child. Renovation and development have transformed his neighborhood.
你看那个马道街以前都是平房，弄了一个这样的盖这个大楼房，他妈30几层，你看还像这。 劳力，哎，现在就好了。其实我就讲呢，哪怕你这个老门楼一个老房子，那个墙盖我都要留到保留。
Like the city, the Lantern Festival too has changed. Yin and his wife enjoy checking out the spectacular factory-made fantasy lanterns that now draw tens of millions of visitors to the festival. The Lantern Festival falls on the first full moon after Chinese New Year, and here on the East Coast, it signals the beginning of spring. But travel due west 1,700 kilometers inland into the mountains of Sichuan province. And in February, it's still wintry and the land is still dusted with snow. Here, hills rise steeply towards the Tibetan Plateau, the highest plateau on Earth. Perfect conditions for one of the world's most diverse habitats, temperate forests. The most famous resident of this habitat is the giant panda. But this giant panda cub isn't all that he seems. This is the Warlong Reserve, an enormous nature reserve run by the China Conservation and Research Center for Giant Pandas. Some panda cubs born here, like this one, are chosen to be enrolled in a special program, training to be released into the wild. There are now more than 600 pandas in captivity worldwide, but keepers like Yang Chang Jiang want there to be more in the wild too.
毕竟野生动物它的家在野外，我们要把它放回家野外去。
Returning a panda born in captivity successfully to the wild takes at least 2 years of special training. Stage 1, cubs live with their mothers in large pens, around 3,000 meters square. The cubs mustn't get used to humans, so a wild panda trainer needs a very special outfit with a very special smell.
它有是母亲，还有我们的熊猫服，基本上都有那个母亲的那个原生原物的那个气味、粪便味道啊、尿液味道都有，所以它的感觉是熊猫母亲。
The keepers observe them keenly from a distance, thanks to CCTV cameras.
这个气都长得不错了啊，一个月长了1公斤半个月。
Chang Jiang knows only a cautious, alert cub is suited to life in the wild.
工作上有时候说点轻轻的说点话，他们听见一下就窜到树上去了。它证明它这个效果也比较好啊。
The life of a giant panda can seem uncomplicated. Eat bamboo, snooze, wake up, eat some more bamboo. But this laid-back lifestyle is in fact necessary. Their gut is more suited to eating meat than bamboo. They can't digest it efficiently. So, in the wild, they must find enough bamboo to eat it non-stop 14 hours a day to get the nutrients they need. Stage 2 of cub training is crucial. Chang Jiang transfers his charges to bigger pens, just like the forest where their wild cousins live. Here, they must find their own shelter, water, and bamboo year-round. If a cub has proved its ability to thrive on its own, the great day comes when it's released into the wild. For Chang Jiang, this is a bittersweet moment.
怎么说呢？有时候放到外面去，有点舍不得，怕它有什么意外啊。但是我们最终的目的要把熊猫放到它自己家里面去，还是必须要做这些工作，还要去尝试做这些。
In 2019, China announces the creation of an enormous giant panda national park, more than 3 times the size of Yellowstone. It will link up 67 nature reserves. Under the protective umbrella of the giant panda, the rich forest habitat will provide sanctuary for more than 8,000 endangered animals and plants. And downstream, these flourishing forests help protect millions of humans from catastrophic flooding. In China, they call it simply the Long River. Over 6,000 kilometers from source to sea, the Yangtze is the longest river in Asia. A quarter of China's population, that's more than 250 million people, live in the Yangtze Valley. Just south of the river, in Jiangxi province, is part of the natural system that protects these millions from the river, a giant wetland. Now, as the third solar term begins, the wetlands are still noisy with birds, which flew south to escape the northern winter. The Yangtze's restored wetlands play a key role in flood control. When the water level in the Yangtze rises, wetlands act as sponges, absorbing water and reducing flooding downstream. Poryang Lake is the largest freshwater lake in China and sits at the heart of a vast wetland area of marshes, rivers, streams, and ponds that wax and wane with the seasonal rains. Back from the eastern shore of the lake is a little bird sanctuary hospital staffed by volunteers. Their inspiration? Dr. Lee Chun-Roo. For over 35 years, the bird's most devoted champion. Dr. Lee trained in medicine. He began treating injured birds after one stormy night left more than 300 injured. Though not a vet, he thought he might be able to use his medical skills to help them.
虽然我是人医师，但鸟也是有生命，所以我用人的办法治疗鸟很好，就很快就叫鸟治好了。
Now, whenever local people find an injured bird, they will bring it to Dr. Lee. Poryang Lake has got smaller since the 1990s, partly thanks to climate change. But the wetlands have expanded, and this is an even better habitat for wildfowl. They like to wade in shallow water, searching for small aquatic prey. The wetlands are better than a big lake for the grasses and reeds they eat that grow at the water's edge. Over the years, caring for the wild birds has become an all-consuming passion for Dr. Lee. He planted trees on the high ground behind his house to protect them. When he thinks they might struggle to find food, he buys fish and other food and scatters it by the shore. His wife thinks he's gone too far.
你为了保护这些鸟，白天在湖里，晚上在山上，鸟能给你带来什么呀？你找个鸟住了好不算了，就看人生一样，好像那什么只要祝福孙子，是一家人。
Though he cares for them, Dr. Lee doesn't think of the birds like his pets. It's time to let the injured bird go.
放飞它，才是真正给了生命。它属于大自然的。我35年来放飞了5万多只候鸟，把它还给世人，还给蓝天，还给了它自己的野性。这是我的责任，也是我的心愿。
Over the next 6 weeks, as spring comes to the wetlands, the winter visitors will start to leave. They'll fly off to their ancestral breeding grounds. And people across northern China will see them flying overhead and know that spring is on its way. Head southwest, and you cross the tea plantations of western Yunnan and the fast-developing high-tech center of Guiyang. Down in Yunnan, on the border with Vietnam, the temperature is already above 25 degrees and will stay that way till October. This is Honghe County, site of a miracle of engineering that can be best understood from the air. Chen Xinyang comes from the Hani minority. He's passionate about their unique rice terrace culture.
샤데 마야노 고치마조기요 아유 쇼코리 마쿠키 자하 마쿠키노 샤데 우데자 로마자 비노호 하지마조이초요 샤데 미테요.
Steep hillsides and heavy rainfall once made this landscape dangerous with floods and landslides. Over 1,300 years ago, the Hani began to construct sinuous terraced fields that snake around the contours of the mountains, and an intricate network of channels that divert streams and rain runoff to fill the fields with water. This way, they have stabilized the soil and created man-made wetlands that protect from flooding. March is an important moment in the farmer's year. Time to transplant the rice seedlings into the terraced fields. Chen's daughter, Xiaoling, always comes home from the city to take part. Chen, like most Hani, farms traditional red rice in a way that is naturally sustainable. Ducks and water buffalo fertilize the rice. And snails and fish in the water control bugs and pests. For the Hani, living in harmony with nature like this is at the heart of their culture. They're also famous for a kind of singing known as polyphonic. It can sound quite dissonant for those not familiar with it. Chen feared this musical heritage was slipping away, as many younger people abandoned the tough, inflexible, routine life of farming rice. So he was determined to teach Xiaoling. A decade on, and Xiaoling and her father have given performances of Hani music all over China. The Hani rice terraces now draw thousands of tourists, bringing new opportunities to the villagers. And their organic duck eggs and red rice are sold through cooperatives to a wide public. For father and daughter, what's important is maintaining Hani musical traditions and the sustainable way they farm.
아이게 존에 내요 추체제 로스비그 말레니스나 non 니미는게
As the weather gets warmer right across China, thoughts turn to holidays. In 2019, Chinese holidaymakers made 6 trillion trips inside China. Average wages have more than doubled since 2010, and exploring their huge country is at the top of many people's wish list. And in springtime, tourists flock to see orchards and forests bursting into blossom. Azaleas, almonds, cherries, and peaches. While much of the Tibet Autonomous Region is still deep in snow, in the eastern part, along the valley of the Yarlung Sangbo, the highest river in the world, 100 miles of peach orchards are in bloom in March. It's not only natural beauty that brings many visitors to Tibet. They're also drawn to the region as a spiritual home and a place to follow their dreams and find peace. For Fan Jia, a visit to see the blossom here was the beginning of a new life.
我一直的生活追求是我想找一个我喜欢的地方做我自己喜欢的事儿，所以有一次我们自驾过来到西藏来的时候，就觉得这个地方的环境，包括人文，包括这里的人，就是我想要找的地方。
They decided to uproot themselves from the city and move to the place nicknamed the Switzerland of Tibet. They built a small guest house with a very special view. At the far end of the Peach Blossom Valley rises one of the most famous mountains in the Himalayas, climbed only in 1992, Namcha Bawa. Its summit is often hidden in cloud. Locals nickname this holy peak the Shy Mountain. Over 90% of the people in the Tibet Autonomous Region are ethnic Tibetans. Their culture and traditions are rooted in the Buddhist religion and the Tibetan language. In 2018, more than 30 million tourists visited the Tibet Autonomous Region. They're drawn to experience the colorful traditions here on the roof of the world. And every March, many seek out Peach Blossom Valley to admire the flowers the Chinese associate with luck and love.
嗨，欢迎来到林芝啊！对。
电话
啊，好，
这儿还挺好找的
啊。那个你聪明，好多人找几圈没找着。
Fan Jia loves introducing her guests to the way of life in this remote rural community that she now calls home.
然后包括这里的人，除了这里的美景，我非常喜欢这里的人。我的状态不同的是，因为我可以在这里做我自己喜欢的事儿，然后这又是我喜欢的地方，又跟喜欢的人在一起。这是很多人的理想。
Due east from Tibet's Little Switzerland, nearly 4,000 kilometers, and the land is 2,000 meters in altitude lower. Here in Jiangxi province, in a place called Jingdezhen. As March comes to an end, they aren't thinking about holidays, but about rising heat and the coming monsoon rains. From now on, the East Asia monsoon will bring more and more rains from the southeast, until July, when 300 millimeters of rain may fall. Jingdezhen has been famous for over 1,000 years for something believed to have been invented here: porcelain. For a traditional master craftsman, Hu Jiaowang, this clear turn of the seasons is important. Now is his last chance till September to make one of the most expensive and difficult kinds of porcelain: Langhong Red. It can only be made in a wood-fired kiln. The rains bring high humidity and low pressure, which make it hard to control the temperature of these traditional kilns. And the temperature of firing is key to success.
过去有一句老话就是说，瓷器它就是火的艺术。
The glowing, rich red comes from copper oxide. It's volatile and takes immense skill to control.
这个廊红啊，过去请的证有去，这个行话是这样讲：若要穷，你就烧廊红。
By the 17th century, this was the site of China's imperial kilns, making porcelain for the court. By the 18th century, it was in huge demand as far away as Europe. With rising incomes in China, the most difficult to produce porcelain is sought after once more. Today, Master Hu is stacking the kiln for the last time this season. He thinks there are 72 steps in the creation of a perfect Langhong vase, each one essential for final success, including placing every piece in a sagger to protect it from direct heat. Now, Hu needs to control the temperature and the balance of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide inside the kiln. One misstep and the entire batch, worth tens of thousands of dollars, could be ruined. Hu keeps checking the fire through a peephole. He has placed small items inside to check the firing at different stages.
现在通过这个照次观察，这个温度基本差不多了。
Hu quenches the fire. But now, they must wait another day for the kiln to cool down before they can see if this batch is success or disaster. This batch of Langhong Red has been a success. It will be 6 months before Master Hu will try again. As the porcelain masters of Jingdezhen celebrate a job well done, elsewhere, the hard work is just beginning. In Zhejiang province, on the outskirts of Hangzhou, lies a village synonymous with another Chinese specialty, Longjing. Every slope is ridged with dense green stripes, the precious plants that produce Longjing tea. Tea gardens have been cultivated in China for well over 2,000 years, and tea, as a medicine and a beverage, has been an important part of Chinese culture for at least as long. Today, China is the world's biggest producer of tea. Wanghong Jiang is the third generation of his family to nurture these tea gardens.
茶园呢，这个亲戚一样的，你要耐心的去维护它，修剪、除草、打农药，都要很仔细的。
Like the porcelain masters of Jingderjin, Longjing too is thinking about the approach of the monsoon rains. It's the first day of April, and the tea gardens are busy with pickers. This is the first harvest of the season, picked before Qingming, the 5th solar term. It means clear and bright and falls on April 4th, the date of the Tomb Sweeping Festival. It's what Longjing is especially famous for. The leaves are small and pale green. They've grown very slowly during winter and early spring. Soon, as the monsoon rains come and the weather heats up, the leaves grow more quickly, and the delicate flavor of the pre-Qingming harvest fades. This first harvest is the most sought after and expensive. 3 years ago, Longjing's daughter, Huang Danli, took a momentous decision. She resigned her job as a doctor to devote herself to Longjing tea. Her father was appalled.
后来他辞掉工作嘛，我有一些想不通，这么好的工作辞掉了，这回来做茶呢，我有点想不通。
然后他说这个事情是很苦的，因为做农业嘛，农业是一件非常苦的事情。他说估计他说你可能吃不消做下去。我说那你等着看我后面会不会做下去。奖品就是那个家里用的一些。
Danli threw herself into learning everything about Longjing tea, from the latest scientific research to the culture of tea. Longjing, the story goes, was the favorite tea of emperors. These undulating, gentle hills create a sheltered microclimate. The sandy soil contains a lot of quartz. These two quirks of geology give Longjing its distinctive flavor. The tea producer's skill lies in processing the tea. Newly picked tea is first dried in the open air. Then it's hand heated in a wok in a process called killing green. This stops the leaves oxidizing, which would turn them into black tea. During the pre-Qingming season, Longjing and Danli worked 21 hours a day, picking and processing.
锅抓叶不要炒好快了啊！我们要在那里等我准备一包抓叶，我们要在那里要用哦。要不然我还睡着哈，我先去困嘞。啊，你要早点休息。哦。
Longjing used to follow the traditional ways of his father and grandfather, but gradually, he's come to accept Danli's advice, based on modern science. Then, 2 years ago, she landed another left-field idea: to introduce hospitality and tourism students to true Chinese tea culture.
今天呢，给大家带来2款绿茶啊，一款呢是我们西湖龙井，还有一款呢是我们的早春乌牛早。
And invite them to the family tea gardens to get their hands dirty. This was the final straw for Longjing.
让我有点反感。
But Danli knew she was onto something. She saw how Longjing began to work its magic on the students.
一直到最后，他们说爱上了中国茶，爱上了中国茶文化。他们说感觉像丝绸滑进了你的喉咙，就是这样的感觉，然后会觉得很美好。
这一天都过得非常的美好、美妙。
She knew that the students, with their understanding of Longjing, would now become the farmers' best ambassadors.
慢慢理解你们，现在看起来我女儿有恒心，有坚韧心。
Hong Jiang and Dan Li will pick a second harvest later in the year. But nothing is as precious and fragrant as the tea picked at Longjing before Qingming. China is such a vast country that while April means the beginning of the rainy season for some provinces, others see almost no rain at all, in April or in any other month of the year. China is home to some of the largest sandy deserts on Earth. The ancient monastery of Dunhuang, in its tiny oasis, was once a strategic crossroads on the ancient Silk Roads network. At least 2,000 kilometers from the ocean in every direction, this is one of the sunniest, driest places in all China. Clocking up more than 3,000 hours of bright sunshine and less than 3 centimeters of rain each year, making it the perfect place for something very strange. Like some sci-fi city rising from the desert. Huang Wanbo is the director of this innovative solar power plant. He's on a mission to bring cheap, green energy to China and the world. Today, he's sharing his passion and knowledge with a group of art students.
作为一个良相，也能实现我们的梦想。所以呢，发展新能源是为子孙后代创造更好的这么一个生存条件。我们认为应该值得大家去推广。
Winds may whip across the desert, but the flat terrain is ideal for the vast field of mirrors that make this power plant work. $12,500 precision-made mirrors, each the height of a 3-story building, concentrate the sun's rays on the central tower. Here, salt is heated to 565 degrees centigrade. The heat turns turbines and creates electricity. In this windy, dusty landscape, keeping the mirrors optimally reflective is a full-time job, and they constantly adjust them to maximize the sun's energy. This concentrated solar power plant is a pioneering system.
中国的光热电站处在一个起步阶段，就像刚学会走路的小孩，所以呢，每一次挑战都会是一种新的成就，然后呢，又有新的里程碑，又有新的一个方向。
Huang comes from tree-covered Fujian, 2,000 kilometers away on the east coast. But gradually, he's fallen in love with China's deserts.
到了晚上，整个所有的太空、星空就离你特别的近，又有另外一种感觉，感觉到我们离宇宙的特别的近。
1,000 years ago, great ideas and precious goods traveled along the Silk Roads here. Huang hopes that the advances he and his team are making will also travel the world. From January to April, people across China have gone from deep winter to the beginning of summer, with its promise of hot days and monsoon rains. They've celebrated Chinese New Year and the Lantern Festival. And they've commemorated their ancestors at Qingming. Some live lives tied to the seasonal changes of the natural world. Others harness the powers of nature in the service of modern life and its varied demands. China, tradition and modernity, demanding geography and startling innovation. These are the changing seasons of China's year.